Welcome to People Helping People, the podcast to help social entrepreneurs build a stronger business and have a greater impact. I'm your host, Adam Morris, and today we're talking about one of my favorite kind of founder stories, the kind that starts with a real problem in everyday life and turns into a mission-driven business that grows far beyond the first idea. Our guest is Tia Johnson, founder of Fresh Bloom Bins, which is now shifting to operate as Fresh Environmental Services because it keeps growing and expanding. What began as a solution to one very specific, very relatable pain point has evolved into a broader model that helps communities, family properties, and HOAs manage waste in a cleaner, more sustainable, and accountable way. In this conversation, we're going to kind of walk through Tia's origin story, kind of the momentum that she got, and then how she's grown and changed as a social enterprise, expanding from just a bin cleaning service into a full environmental services approach. Let's dive in. Tia, welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. Now, I want to start off today and just dive back to 2013, when some of your entrepreneurial thoughts started coming to the surface. And I'm curious, what happened in your life where you were like, I want to try something different?
Going back to 2013 and even further back, I would say 2013 was like that breaking point. I was reading, I was growing, I was kind of really struggling in life, raising 3 children on my own. And feeling like this just can't be life. Like you can't just go to work, pay bills. I often tell people I knew where all of the police stops were on 270 because I was used to zooming, trying to get to work on time. And I just had a breaking point where my oldest daughter at the time was in middle school. And I was like, oh my gosh, this next few years is going to fly by. Like high school is just like a blink and it's gone, right? There was so much that I wanted to instill in her. There were so many things that I just wanted to make sure that as a mother, as a young woman, that I was really leaning into what her needs would be. And I just couldn't do it in the capacity that I was at. I was just burnt out. I was tired. I was really stretching that corporate ladder, believing that that is the way, right? Like you go, you start at the bottom, you work your way up, you work hard, and that is going to be the solution. And that was not it. There were some other components that was missing and how you can build your own version of rich or wealth, right? So being rich in relationships, being rich in resources, being rich in family. I started to redefine what that meant to me, and it wasn't so one way. There was multifaceted, and I just decided that I would lean into something new, a bit of a challenge, and continue to grow in an area where I felt like, at least if nothing else, I tried.
Cool. Now, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was this like a
I
lifelong
didn't
dream?
know I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I always say going back, looking, just like there was things that happened to you in your life that help mold, and you're like, oh, I'm going to pull from that. So at 11, I went and got my own paper route with the Columbus Dispatch. And looking back at as an adult and having children now, like, I'm like, how did I do this? Like, I literally picked up the phone and called them and said, I want a paper route. No one said put your mom or dad on the phone. Like they took my information and dropped me off a delivery. Like it was a joke between me and my sister because I was in middle school myself and I wanted to make money. We were financially strapped for cash and I wanted all of the shoes and stuff that like the cool kids, right? Fast forward in high school, I was in the DECA program. And in DECA, we ran the school store. So you learned sales, you learned how to operate, like you were having the conversation, you had to be responsible. So it's coming back like full circle. I can laugh at myself sometimes and like, you were kind of being like in these little subtle ways. No one was sitting down like do a business plan and start a business, right? Like, but you had that grit, that hustle, that, like I'm going to figure it out mentality early on. And that has been like a super foundation that I can lean into and laugh at my previous self and my current self.
I love it. Well, and that's good because I always have this theory that if we teach our youth the skills of entrepreneurship and building businesses and good kind of financial strategy, that it sticks with them for life. You're a great example of like, yes, that's true.
Yes.
But at the same time, like you weren't prepared to start your own business. What did you do to actually start to get those pieces in place? Like, how did you learn what you needed to learn in order to get started?
So, one, I have a degree in library. That's my joke. I started at the freest of free resources. So, when you're already limited into cash, right? Like you think starting the business is this huge, heavy thing. And sometimes it can. I have a notebook where I made a list of the stuff I needed to do. And one of them was start a website. And that was so big to me at the time, right? Like starting a website right now is frustrating, but it's not like my big, heavy, hairy goal, right? And then I leaned into local resources. So the Women's Business Center, ECDI, was a component that I was part of early on. And I literally leaned into instead of being visible for times where I didn't think my kids really needed me, it was more of, okay, they're at practice. I'm going to drop my son off at football and then I'm going to go take a class at night. He doesn't need me for practice, right? He needs me at the game. Or they have like a school event and there's my schedule can be flexible. I'm going to go in a little later and take these classes and get connected. So it was really tapping into what was available to me and how can I take advantage of those.
But how did that lead to Fresh Bloom Blends? Where did the idea originally come from to start a sustainable trash cleaning service?
Arguing with my teenage son. So, like, so raw, so real, so relevant, right? At the time, I was already on that entrepreneur journey. So, when I had to take out the trash for him, being the mom, like, oh, I'm working from home, right? Before working from home was normal, I was working from home and I took out the trash and I'm like, wait, like the flies, the maggots, the odor, I was so disgusted and frustrated. So as soon as he came home from school, I'm like, you have to clean the trash can. And he is frustrated as well. Like nobody wants to clean a trash can. No. And I put out my mom card, right? Like you're cleaning the trash can. And he did. But I sat on the couch and I thought, nobody really wants to clean a trash can. Like nobody really wants to do it, even if it's one of those things that have to be done. And if it was my problem, I got on Google and I started looking like, who else has this problem, right? I thought it was this like grand idea. And luckily, it is a grand idea, but someone actually developed a system, equipment that I could use. And all I had to do was bring it to market. So it really just started off as something where I'm arguing with my teenage son, know that problems are needed to be solved on a regular basis. How can I take what I already have and just adapt it into this new model?
Love it. And so many pieces of that, which I think are great for any social entrepreneur to hear, is like, one, understand, is this a problem that just I'm perceiving, or do other people have this problem? And then are there other solutions out there? Are there other things which, are solving this problem? And you found something which is like, all right, there's a product out there. Can I find out how to bring that to my market? What did early days look like? How was it getting Fresh Bloom Bins off the ground?
Getting it off the ground, it didn't start the way that the business plan. So by this time, I was in the business plan stage, right? We're in March 2020. Everybody's talking about cleaning and sanitation. It's everywhere, right? And I was like, you know what? And this is the driving factor right now today that I still use. I'm never going to just take someone's opinion. I'm going to do my own due diligence to find out if this makes sense. And what I did is I put my foot on the gas like I had this truck in my backyard and I started to sell. I started to ask a lot of questions. I started to figure out how I could get what I wanted by helping others get what they needed. And at that time, there was the opportunity to work with a local municipality on cleaning their trash cans where they could not physically hold individual residents for cleaning it because they were shared containers. And some of these containers have been out there for 20 years. You imagine the amount of gross stuff people's throwing away in a shared container, right? Like we don't even like the stuff that people do on our individual containers. Like we get the horror stories of, I don't even have a dog. Why do I got dog poop in my container, right? Like they're freaking out angry, right? Like, but this is a shared container in an alleyway. And we listened to their concern, tried to address it, and end up getting our first municipal bid out of starting out. So our first contract was working with a municipality and shifted that residential model. So we thought we were going to go door to door, we were going to sell, and we had like all these people telling us this is the way you do it like this. And even going against like working with haulers and like early on, people were just like, no, they're going to steal your idea, right? Like it was really crazy in this like the direction that you go in can change just by listening and being flexible enough to say, wait, I think I can do this.
It's fun too, like your kind of attitude towards selling. I think it's very fresh and unique. I've met a lot of people in the social impact space where they show up because they care about the impact that they're delivering, but they're not, they're scared of sales, or they're scared of going out and actually being like, hey, how can I charge somebody for something if what I really want to do is the impact? But no, in your spirit, it's like, yes, I was hitting the pavement. I was talking to people. I was figuring out what was there. It was like, this is part of the fun of building a business, is getting out there, having those conversations and understanding what people need. How is it talking and picking up a contract from the municipality? Like, what was that like?
Long, hard. um, Honestly,
But not impossible.
not impossible. Honestly, it's selling. It's just selling to a different audience and understanding how to maybe develop a strong language. So while a lot of people may be celebrating on Friday and Saturday nights, I'm watching city council meetings. They're so informative, right? Like they can tell you so much. Like you get your popcorn, some M&Ms, and you just make a date of it, right? Like it's learning to like you don't have the capacity to meet everybody all at the same time. What do you have, right? So going back to that basic concept, if I can't get this and I still need the information, what is available for you that you can get the information? And then once you get in front of them, have done some of your research and your due diligence to really find out when I show up, right? Is it a sales pitch or is it a conversation? So learning to ask quality questions. That's not only just anything I apply in my business, but in my personal life, right? I read somewhere the quality of your questions determines the quality of the answers. So when we ask the right questions, what changes to the answer that you get? Even down to like my high school student. Kids come home from school, you say, how was your day? What they would give you like the simplest, it was cool, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
like, you're expecting a dialogue, right? So we can't even ask that simple question and be like, well, they say the same thing every time she comes home, right? Like, so now I just ask like little unique questions like, what's the one thing you learned at school today? So it changes the monotony of the question and this you're just asking the same thing all the time, right? And when you can do that, the sales doesn't feel so salesy. I mean, there's like the spiritual approach with the greatest salesman ever. Like that book is so golden. Like, I mean, just so golden, just dropping gems, right? Sales is an exchange. And just even on a spiritual side, my pastor always taught me this one thing I never forget. He said, when your hand is open, you can give and you can receive, right? And that is what we use in my sales approach, right? It doesn't have to be like, give me, right? Like, it doesn't have to take what someone else gives you, but where's the common ground? Where do we need each other? Where can we support each other? Trash can cleaning is the dumbest idea ever, right? Like that's never the response, right? Like you're like, have you heard what she does? Like it's super interesting. Like and like how did she came up with this idea, right? But does it mean that everybody's gonna buy it? No, they don't buy it right away. Research tells us you got to see it 7 times before they even convert, right? So it's the little subtle things that you kind of understand in your industry, your sales cycle. I know when I go out and meet with a customer, it's probably going to be 12 to 18 months before that lead turns into a customer. And you have to be okay with that, right? Like, so now you can understand how to adjust your approach. And if someone comes in sooner, hip, hip, hooray, right?
Love that.
We still know what we're essentially offering them and how we're going to offer it to them.
And I like that mindset, that one, You're not looking for a quick win or just to be done, check the box. You're building a relationship, and you're doing that by showing up and understanding people, what their needs are, but also sharing what your needs are, right? It's two
Yes.
ways. I love that analogy of the open hand, can both give and receive, because it's like you're participating and it's like together you're making something greater happen. And that's
Yes.
what it's building.
And isn't that what businesses should be about? Collaboration? No
Yeah.
one can do all this on their own. I don't care how you like I was always worried as a small business owner because I came from such a huge corporate structure. And I didn't understand it, right? Like, well, I know I got a safe pathway to my 401k this way and I have a steady income, right? Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I never understood it until I went to the other side of why certain people just never gravitate to that environment, right? They like knowing the people that they work for. Like they love the idea of like, no, my boss is this and we have a good time and we are flexible with each other, right? Like there's just you see people. Like you get to genuinely see people. And in a world where everybody is just looking, being seen and being heard is just so valuable. It's so valuable.
No, I love that, especially when you're building something which might not be central to somebody's life, right? I mean, the reason that a trash can is smelly is probably because it's been ignored because they have more important things going on in their life. But hey, if you can come in and solve that in a way that works, then you're making the quality of life better all around.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the goal. That's kind of what we talk about, like quality of life. Like when you start looking at it and breaking that down, trash is equity, right? Determining what that looks like for someone else, whether you live in a single family home, whether you live in an apartment complex, like trash is such a huge deal to that. Like your whole experience, right? I remember when I used to live in an apartment and I would have to put my trash on my car and drive it, right? Like I'm not putting that in my car. Like, especially as a young mother, I had a car seat and a baby, like and groceries. Like, oh my gosh, like the experience is like worth like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't do this, right? So it's such an important piece to like the quality of life. Sanitation, trash, clean water, those are essential. Are we living in a community that is feel safe? The quality of life. When you have those basic needs and necessities met, it makes all of the difference how you see your community and how you show up for your community.
That makes so much sense. Now, let's bring it back to Fresh Blue Blends. Like, tell us how this grew and what led to Fresh Environmental Services. So it sounds like you've grown and you've adapted and you've changed, and now you're something entirely different. And what prompted this change?
So when we're looking at our journey of businesses and saying, man, like what I'm selling, it was not connecting where I could convert well. So people love the idea, but so many people are restrained when they have restraints when they come to their trash budget. And we were asking them to go outside of what they already had in place. And then they had to go to all these other people for approval. And it was just too hard for everybody to try to like get all together in the sandbox. I met an amazing mentor and he asked me a really tough question. He said, Tia, you're doing amazing things and I love what you're doing, but you are not offering the main service. Why? And I had no real answer other than the fact I didn't think I was capable of doing it. And he said, well, if somebody showed you how to do it, would you do it? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. He said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you. And he peeled back the curtains and he showed me a whole new, and part of the journey and the change has been people believing in me enough to invest their time and their resources, people being able to tell me problems and pain points and feel like she's going to do something with that. That didn't just go unnoticed. And then coming back and feeling like you listen and now we can do business together. So it was so many different components from my journey of seeing what worked and what didn't work, being on these huge projects related to trash and really feeling accomplished, like, I've stretched myself, like, I'm so proud of you, Tia, right? Like, just my own internal, like, looking in the mirror, you can do this, and you ain't never did this before, and you're gonna figure this out. Like, that little girl, she was still in there. And then seeing the impact that it had from the people that we employ, we've been able to take people out of state on jobs that never left their neighborhood. Like, literally just giving the
Wow.
whole new approach and experience to just employment and life and what it all looks like and how it can all come together. So I'm also telling people that trash isn't an environment that I love and enjoy so much because there was times in my life where I felt like trash, a throwaway, just no value, just seen and just discarded, right? Like in this space, I get to thrive. I get to build like the people, the culture. It has allowed me to shift and become this new fresh environmental services, right? Like a new brand, a new approach to solve a very old problem. And we're just showing up different and we're just showing up with a fresh approach to solve trash.
I love it. And there's this kind of undercurrent theme of one, you you wanted something different in life, right? But it's not like you knew exactly how to get there or where to go. But you showed up, you asked questions, you tapped into the free resources. You've mentioned having mentors many times over this call of just this idea of like, hey, as an entrepreneur, you don't need to be in it alone, but make sure you have those trusted guides and mentors and support. But what I'm hearing is you got there by listening to people, by having conversations and showing up. And in
Yes.
turn, they started believing in you.
Yeah.
What's the vision for Fresh Environmental Services?
The vision for Fresh Environmental Services is small and big. So, on a small scale, it's how do we change the narrative around everyday trash and waste management practices in multifamily spaces. So, we know right now locally that there is just some challenges with the conversations when it comes to trash. So, surprisingly enough, when units are being built, you're normally the last person on the contact list is who's going to collect the trash, right? So they have the units, they have this amazing design. No one's thinking about the trash. So we're just saying, hey, let us come in as an trusted advisor as the design is being developed. So we can say, hey, that will work, that will not work, right? Like, let's have this intentional conversation. But however, that's not always feasible. Some units are just already here and they're older. They can't be retrofitted or modified in any kind of way. So we're coming in as an advisor and saying, well, we have a fresh approach to doing things. Let's start off by listening. Let's figure out some logistics where we can do different things differently. So what we're looking at it is we don't just have a trash problem, we have a communication problem, we have a logistics problem, and now we're coming in to say, on your side, you are used to dealing with this. And on our side, we're used to dealing with trash. We're going to advise you with what you already deal with and give you a different, fresh approach to that. So we offer an all in solution. That means most multifamily, they deal with a bunch of people trying to maintain the property being clean. You normally have your hauler, we have valet trash models that's been introduced. You have your maintenance litter cleanup crews. There's all these people that are responsible for the trash. So you normally can't just blame your trash problem on one person. We are saying blame your problem on one person. So if we're all in one, we are going to have the knowledge and capacity to solve it better. And then for you, you only have one person to blame if it's going really, really bad or if it's really, really good, right? It takes that relief of not understanding all of the codes and ordinance and all of the things that come along with waste management and trash off of a person who never was in the trash business, taking ownership and accountability, and then just adding a level of communication. So we give our clients access to a portal, we give our clients access to an account manager, and now they have a dedicated rep that can help them navigate if they get something in the mail, a DIP or some sort of violation. They have a trusted partner that says, hey, we got this. We don't know what to do. Help, right? Like we can navigate the conversations. We've built relationships with so many different haulers, municipalities, and they know that our approach is going to bridge a gap that they're looking to solve that problem.
Oh, that's so cool. And I just love that thread of taking something which on the surface as an individual, you don't think about a lot, but it's really complicated logistics and a lot of things happening behind the scenes. And so if you can be that trusted advisor to come in, make that smoother, then it makes the whole process better for everybody. And I love seeing that evolution from, just a pandemic hits and you're like, let's see what we can clean up, to like growing a business that is impacting a lot of people. I mean,
and sustainable and scalable, right? So we branched and launched the Clean Community Program. And the Clean Community Program is just that, a way to allow multifamily to keep their community clean. We can now go into other spaces, we can go into other states, and we can teach people the clean community model. So it's not even limited. You don't have to do it this way just here in Columbus, Ohio. Across the country, people are experiencing the same problem and trash. So we're just being a beacon and a voice to say, we've done enough of our due diligence and the research and added the software, so we know it works. Here's another way that we can actually help other communities. So it's not Tia in a bubble, right? It's Tia saying, I started here, but I have something going here. I don't want to move to Texas. I don't want to move to Georgia, right? Like they're experiencing the same trash problem in their multifamily spaces too. And we can now help others and empower them to this model.
Love that. Where do people go online to learn more about what you do?
www.freshtrashservices.com. So we have a new website that really speaks to the pain point. Communities, property managers that enroll into the Clean Community Program, they'll actually be given and design their own landing page for their community. And what that allows it to do is, say you have a resident that's moving out. We're getting that information and saying, hey, reach out to us. We're going to schedule that clean out. So now you don't have this mess left in your bulk area. You have your emergency response. You're trying to get people out there before you get coded by the municipality, right? It's a whole different level of logistics and communication that have come together and to allow people to actually feel like they're empowered. They have some say, and now they're just not feeling bullied, right? Like you have to do it or you're going to be penalized. Like I didn't even know how to do it from the beginning. I was dependent on other people, right?
And I love that you have this trajectory, right? So, we talked about having the conversations and building those relationships, but then you've built up your business in such a way that you have all these great processes and understanding of like, here's better ways to work. And you're bringing that to a wider group of people. Yeah. And I think as a social entrepreneur, that quite often that's important to realize, hey, here's how I can solve a problem one time. Here's how I can help somebody with that. And then as you continue doing that, like you're building up this knowledge of like how to make the world a better place in a more repeatable way and building those processes to bring that to a wider group.
Yes. Shout out to the Goldman Sachs City of Columbus Accelerator Program, right? Like they forced me to say, this is where you're at. Okay, let's look at it. Break it down week after week after week after week after week. Break it down, right? Like when you're in a space where you understand systems, procedures, that is how you scale. It goes beyond, here's what we can do in this room with me, right? You don't need 10 Tias. You need 10 versions of people that have skill sets that blend well with yours, but they have their own set of skill sets. But then if you have policies and procedures, then you have these operating systems put in place. Some of the relationships that I've been able to develop is I didn't show up and like, I'm just a salesperson. Sometimes you're talking to the owner and you can just have owner to owner conversations and y'all can laugh at each other. You can kudos each other. Like, you made it through the year too? Yes, because I died in 2022. Like somebody had to CPR me back to life, right? Like, and you can just see each other and say, you know what? I get it. Because people mostly do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? If you can get to that level. So that's where your brand comes in, right? Like, if it's not one-on-one selling, what is my brand going to represent that still conveys that we're trustable, that we can be trusted, and we're likable, and that we can help you solve those problems? And that's what we've embodied into Fresh Environmental Services. Is we've taken the things that work really well for us and we leaned into those things and the things that kind of make us stand out, right? That's the trash can cleaning company. I don't care what our name was. Everybody always remember Fresh in the trash can cleaning company. Like, why are you changing?
That's fantastic.
A lot of people like Bloomin' Ben's, Ben Bloomin'. Like, what? I was early in my career. Like, I was early, right? Like,
Yeah. Now you found out, hey, here's how you can grow and expand with the services that you have.
yes,
I love that.
absolutely.
And really highlight the environmental sustainability side of what you do, which is fantastic.
Highlight the sustainability, right? Like that is really the focal of that multifamily space. Is there's so many challenges that to get to the recycle. They don't have the infrastructure. They can't add another dumpster on site, right? Like there were so many pieces that just it wasn't going to work. It didn't matter how hard you pushed the narrative. The only way that you could really get it to work is if you started looking at the players in the game and say, well, if no one else is willing to do that, what would it take if we tried? And then once we tried it and was like, we can do this, and then you find a really good partner that trusts you and say, I want to put all of my units in the clean community program. Okay, we can do that.
You take it away and run with
And
it.
you take
I love it. Well, and I'm so excited to see what comes next as you continue to grow. It's been so much fun talking to you, like this whole journey of how things started, where your inspiration came from, and the kind of approach that you took to really get the support you needed to make something great happen. And then kind of that guts to go out and start selling and learn, learn by listening to people and building those relationships.
Yes.
And it's always fun to talk trash. So thanks for
I'm here for it. I'm so Trash Junkie 101. Can't look back. It's the people, it's the culture, it's the problem solving, it's all the things that make you feel you, right? Like I'm in an environment where I can excel. So it wasn't corporate that was the issue. It was just I was in the wrong environment. And now that I'm in this environment, I get to show up and show out and help bring others along the way.
How can listeners learn more about the work that you're doing? Where can they go?
Well, definitely hit me up on LinkedIn. So Tia Johnson. Our website is freshtrashservices.com. I'm going to be launching my own version of connecting with people of She Speaks Trashy. So be on the lookout for that. And it's really that gut of Tia saying what you need to say. When it's hard, when your voice is shaken, when you're scared, when you feel alone. The amount of courage that it gets to say what you need to say is such a relief and a freedom to be who you are. You're not perfect. None of us are. But when you can have honest conversations with yourself, with your peers, with your family, with your employees, it really makes living worth that. So I'm super excited about the She Speaks Trashy brand that we'll be launching in March 2026.
Tia, thank you so much for being on here. I'm excited. You've been in the trenches, and I can't wait for you to be helping other people in that capacity as well. But thanks so much for being a guest.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you for listening to People Helping People. I always love sharing these stories of social entrepreneurs who figure out a way to get their business off the ground and create a really good impact in the world. Join us next week for another exciting episode about how you can create a better social impact. Until next time, cheers.